What if one simple question could shake the foundation of almost every religion on earth? Not does God exist? Not which religion is true? But a much simpler question. If God created us, who created God? At first, it sounds like a question a child might ask. Yet for centuries, philosophers, scientists, theologians, and skeptics have wrestled with it. Entire books have been written about it. Debates have filled universities, churches, mosques, and lecture halls. And even today, millions of people searching for answers eventually find themselves staring at the same question. Because if everything has a creator, then surely God must have one too, right? Or is God somehow different from everything else? For some people, the question has strengthened their faith. For others, it became the first crack that led them away from religion altogether. And before this video ends, you'll understand why. Because this isn't just a debate about God. It's a debate about existence itself. About why anything exists at all. About why there is something rather than nothing. And perhaps the most difficult question humanity has ever asked. Where did reality come from? Long before modern science existed, human beings looked at the world around them and noticed something interesting. Nothing seemed to appear without a cause. A house doesn't build itself. A painting doesn't paint itself. A book doesn't write itself. A watch doesn't assemble itself. Every effect appears to have a cause. Every creation appears to have a creator. So many religious thinkers reached what seemed like a logical conclusion. If everything in the universe has a cause, then the universe itself must also have a cause. After all, galaxies exist. Stars exist. Planets exist. The universe clearly exists. So what caused it? What brought everything into existence? For billions of believers around the world, the answer is simple. God. God is the creator of the universe, the creator of space, the creator of time, the creator of matter, the creator of life itself. To many people, this explanation feels intuitive. In fact, some philosophers argue that the incredible complexity of life points toward intelligent design. Consider the human brain. Roughly 86 billion neurons communicating through trillions of connections. Or consider DNA. A microscopic code carrying the instructions for building and maintaining every living thing. Or the precise conditions required for life to exist on Earth. The exact distance from the sun. The strength of gravity. The properties of water. The laws of physics themselves. To believers, these things do not look random. They look designed. And if there is a design, then there must be a designer. This idea became one of the most famous arguments for God's existence. An argument that has survived for centuries. But then skeptics asked a question that completely changed the conversation. A question so simple that it seems almost impossible to ignore. They asked, if everything needs a creator, then who created God? Because if believers say the universe needs a creator because it exists, then shouldn't the same logic apply to God? After all, if existence requires an explanation, wouldn't God require one too? This is where the debate becomes fascinating, because many religious thinkers immediately respond. You're misunderstanding what God is. According to classical Christianity, Islam, Judaism, and many philosophical traditions, God is not simply another object inside the universe. God is not a giant being floating somewhere in space. God is not a creature. God is not something that began to exist. Instead, believers argue that God is eternal, without beginning, without end, existing outside time itself. And because God never began to exist, they say God does not require a creator. Only things that begin to exist require causes. God never began. Therefore, God was never created. For believers, this solves the problem. But atheists and skeptics often remain unconvinced. Because they argue that this sounds like a special exception. They ask, why can God exist eternally without a creator, but the universe cannot? If something can exist forever without being created, why not the universe itself? Why introduce God into the explanation at all? And suddenly the mystery returns. In fact, some skeptics argue that the creator explanation doesn't actually answer the question. It simply pushes the question back one step. Instead of asking where the universe came from, we're now asking where God came from. And if the answer is that God was never created, then skeptics wonder whether the universe might also require no creator. Neither side finds the issue that simple. Science has uncovered evidence suggesting that our universe had a beginning approximately 13.8 billion years ago, a beginning often associated with what we call the Big Bang. But what caused the Big Bang? What existed before it? Could anything exist before time itself? Scientists still debate these questions, and despite enormous progress, no universally accepted answer exists. Meanwhile, religious believers argue that the existence of a beginning points toward a transcendent creator. Skeptics respond that a gap in scientific knowledge is not proof of God. And so the debate continues, year after year, century after century, neither side completely convincing the other. But the story becomes even more complicated, because there isn't just one religion claiming to know the answer. There are many: Christianity, Islam, Hinduism, Sikhism, ancient religions, modern religions, each offering different explanations about the nature of God, creation, and reality itself. And that raises another difficult question. If there is one creator of the universe, why do different religions describe that creator so differently? Are they describing the same God using different names? Or are some of them mistaken? And if billions of people disagree about who God is, how can anyone know which view is closest to the truth? If there is one God, why are there so many? If God exists, why can't humanity agree on who God is? It's one of the most uncomfortable questions in religion. Today, there are thousands of religions and denominations across the world. While many share similar moral teachings, they often disagree on the most fundamental question of all: who is God? Christianity teaches that there is one God revealed through the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Christians believe Jesus is the Son of God and the path to salvation. Islam also teaches belief in one God, Allah, but rejects the idea that God has a son. Muslims believe Muhammad is the final prophet and that the Quran is God's final revelation. Judaism believes in one God as well, but does not accept Jesus as the Messiah or divine. Then there are religions like Hinduism, with many deities and diverse schools of thought. Some Hindus see these gods as different expressions of one ultimate reality, while others worship specific deities. Buddhism takes an even more unusual approach. Many forms of Buddhism don't focus on a creator God at all. Instead, they emphasize understanding suffering, the mind, and the path to enlightenment. So if there is one ultimate truth, why do these answers look so different? Believers often explain this by saying that humans are imperfect. According to many religious traditions, God revealed himself at different times and in different ways, but people misunderstood, altered, or corrupted those messages over generations. From this perspective, the existence of many religions doesn't prove that God doesn't exist. It simply shows that humans disagree about him. Skeptics, however, see the situation differently. They argue that if an all-powerful and all-knowing God truly wanted humanity to know him, the message should be unmistakably clear. Why would billions of sincere people, born into different cultures, reach completely different conclusions about the most important question in existence? Why does someone's religion so often depend on where they were born? If you're born in Saudi Arabia, you're more likely to grow up Muslim. If you're born in Italy, you're more likely to grow up Christian. If you're born in India, you're more likely to grow up Hindu. Is that because one religion is true, or because culture shapes belief? Psychologists have long observed that family, community, and tradition have a powerful influence on what people believe from childhood. But believers respond that culture alone cannot explain faith. History is filled with people who changed religions after studying other beliefs. Some abandoned religion entirely. Others converted after years of skepticism. And many say they experienced something deeply personal that convinced them God was real. These experiences include answered prayers, profound moments of peace, dramatic life changes, and events they believe cannot be explained by coincidence. Skeptics acknowledge that such experiences are real to the people who have them, but they question whether personal experiences are reliable evidence. After all, people from different religions report miracles, visions, and spiritual encounters that often contradict one another. If followers of different faiths all claim supernatural experiences, can they all be correct? Or could the human mind sometimes interpret ordinary events in extraordinary ways? This brings us to one of the biggest questions in the entire debate. What actually counts as evidence? Is personal experience enough? Should historical documents be trusted? Can science answer questions about God? Or are some questions beyond the reach of science altogether? Before deciding which side has the stronger argument, we need to examine the evidence itself. Because opinions are everywhere. But evidence is what separates belief from conclusion. And that's exactly where our journey goes next. Can either side prove its case? After thousands of years of debate, one question still remains. Where's the evidence? For many people, evidence means something that can be observed, tested, repeated, and independently verified. That's how science works. A scientific claim must be supported by evidence that anyone can investigate. So can God's existence be tested the same way? Not exactly. By definition, if God exists outside space and time, as many religions claim, then God would not be something science could place inside a laboratory. Science is incredibly powerful at explaining how the natural world works. It can describe gravity, evolution, black holes, and the origins of stars. But many philosophers argue that science may not be equipped to answer questions like, why does anything exist at all? Or, why do the laws of nature exist in the first place? This is where philosophy and theology enter the conversation. Believers often point to several arguments. Some argue that the universe appears fine-tuned for life. They note that if certain physical constants were even slightly different, stars, planets, and life as we know it might never have formed. To them, this suggests intention rather than accident. Others point to the beginning of the universe. Modern cosmology indicates that our observable universe has a finite past, leading some to ask whether a beginning points to a cause beyond the universe itself. Many believers also appeal to personal experience. They describe answered prayers, dramatic life transformations, or moments they believe revealed God's presence. For them, these experiences are not merely emotional. They are evidence. Skeptics, however, offer different explanations. They argue that the appearance of design does not necessarily prove a designer. Complexity can arise through natural processes, and many scientific discoveries have explained phenomena that were once attributed to the supernatural. Regarding the universe's beginning, skeptics point out that not knowing what happened before, or whether before, even makes sense when time itself began, does not automatically prove the existence of God. They caution against what philosophers call the God of the gaps argument, using God to explain what science has not yet explained. Then there are personal experiences. Skeptics generally do not deny that people have profound spiritual experiences. Instead, they question whether those experiences can demonstrate that one particular religion is true. People from Christianity, Islam, Hinduism, Buddhism, and many other faiths all report miracles, visions, and life-changing encounters. If sincere people in different religions reach different conclusions from similar experiences, how should we interpret them? Perhaps the deepest truth of this debate is that both sides are asking difficult questions. Believers ask, how can a universe with order, laws, and consciousness exist without an ultimate cause? Skeptics ask, if an all-powerful God exists, why is there so much suffering, confusion, and disagreement? Believers answer that God is eternal, uncreated, and the necessary foundation of all existence. Skeptics reply that if something can exist without a creator, perhaps the universe, or reality itself, could also exist without one. Neither side has produced a single argument that has convinced everyone, and perhaps that's why this debate has lasted for thousands of years. It isn't simply a battle between religion and atheism. It's a search for truth. A search that continues in universities, in places of worship, in laboratories, and in the minds of ordinary people trying to make sense of existence. So, who created God? If you ask many religious believers, the answer is simple. No one. God is eternal and was never created. If you ask many atheists and skeptics, they'll respond, if God doesn't need a creator, then perhaps the universe doesn't either. Two very different conclusions, built from the same question. Which one is correct? That decision is yours. Our goal isn't to tell you what to believe. It's to present the strongest arguments from both sides and encourage thoughtful discussion. Now we'd love to hear from you. Do you believe God is eternal and uncreated? Or do you think the question, who created God, reveals a deeper problem with the idea of a creator? Share your reasoning respectfully in the comments. The most insightful perspectives, whether religious, atheist, or somewhere in between, help everyone think more deeply. If you enjoy balanced documentaries that explore humanity's biggest questions without telling you what to believe, subscribe to Unboxed Belief and join us for the next conversation. Because sometimes, the most important discoveries don't begin with an answer. They begin with a question.